It's the lively art of conversation, and we welcome you to it. We call it Moral Side of the News. I'm John Blim with the WHAS Crusade for Children. With me, as always, is a distinguished panel, Father John Stoltz, St. Aloysius Catholic Church, Reverend Harriett Akins-Banman, Centenary United Methodist Church, New Albany, Rabbi Stan Miles, Louisville Melton School, and Reverend Daniel Corrie Shull, Burnett Avenue Baptist Church. Our first topic, let's get started today with something each of us carries around with us every day, a cell phone. Kentucky legislature could ban the use of cell phones in classrooms. The bill's sponsor, Representative Josh Bray of Mount Vernon, said, quote, "You can't teach distracted kids. A teacher is constantly fighting TikTok, YouTube, and texting, all while trying to teach math," end of quote. Panel, the bill would not allow cell phones during instructional times except perhaps during an emergency. So is this a good idea?
I'll let you all start.
Oh, come on, Corey.
Well, you know, I am not opposed to the bill. I think JCPS is neutral on the bill because there are already schools that have banned cell phones during instructional time. I think it's very reasonable to have a prohibition on cell phones during instructional time because there is no way that we can expect students to learn and to retain what they are learning in classrooms if they're distracted. I think additionally, the presence of phones in our buildings lead to certain behavior problems. Kids have a tendency to use the video function on their phones, sometimes to create various issues for their classmates, and this can cause conflicts in our buildings. And then they sometimes go an additional step and circulate those videos or those pictures on social media sites. There are even social media sites dedicated to that type of footage for several schools that students have created on their own. So I think that there are probably more benefits to not having phones in schools, to having them. I think parents are going to have to adjust. A lot of parents believe that they should be able to contact their child anytime that they want. And I think we need to go back to the way we did this about 20 years ago, which when my mom wanted to contact me at school, she had to call the school office. And that's how she made contact, not through a cell phone. I think that would be helpful to many of our students, and it would contribute to increasing student academic outcomes.
You know, it's not just a phone either. Mm-hmm. It's you have a cell phone, and you're taking a history test, and you have access to virtually every answer that could possibly be needed for that history test with Wikipedia or something like that. And
you
so
have ChatGTP now.
Right.
Right.
Write the paper for you.
That's so it's not just because it's a telephone, it's because it is this incredible computing instrument with the one thing that I've said it over and over again because it just amazes me. There's more computing power in an iPhone than there was in the rockets that took us back and forth from the moon.
Wow.
True.
So to limit access to them makes sense. However, there are times that a cell phone or something like a cell phone sadly becomes a lifeline because of the situation that develops in not just in schools but in other places as well. So it's when we were looking at the data for this topic, what amazed me was the lack of control, that a teacher can't say, okay, I'll turn off all your electronic equipment now, and it doesn't happen. And then someone openly defying the student and coming after the student coming after the teacher with a pencil. That's assault. That-
I think also I don't think we as a society have begun to reckon with what technology has done to our brains and this very real addiction that we have to our smart devices. How people literally many times can't function without them. They always have to be touching their cell phone or scrolling their cell phone, and our children are victims of this as well. And I think we as a society need to reckon with that, but I think also in school buildings, we must reckon with how we haven't quite caught up with technology and how we're still trying to figure out what to do about Chat GTP. I asked my son about it. He said, of course I use Chat GTP. And it's a really cool tool, but it is not very helpful when you're trying to expand children's brains and ensure that they retain information that they're being taught. And so we have a lot to reckon with.
Or even allow one's own creativity.
Right.
And to trust that I had this idea and I'm going to pencil it or draw it and it's going to be enough.
Right.
But somehow the tower of all knowledge is in the cell phone that we have. And then the other concern goes back to this bill. It can be used except in times of emergency. Well, what does that mean? Everybody's cell phone is in a basket and the emergency comes and we run and get it?
Yeah.
And then this falls on the heels of yesterday's hearing in Washington with the leaders of all the technology spaces. And, the comment was made, blood is on your hands. And how true, right? That there are students who have been bullied and marginalized to the point of self-hurt. So how do I think Pandora is out of the box, but I'm not sure how we pull Pandora back in. But I'm also reminded in that story that the one element that did not escape from Pandora's box was hope. It was, it's there. So I have hope that rules and regulations can be put in place for the safety of the student as well as for the integrity of the classroom.
Right.
And I think that largely cell phones are inappropriate for use in the classroom for the reasons stated here. And it's a complicated tool, these electronic devices, because they can act like an encyclopedia, and then also they can provide entertainment and be a big distraction. And so, but largely I think of them as inappropriate. They're taking away from, I think, many students' attention in the classroom when it properly belongs there to the teacher and what's going on in learning. And I think the bill makes for appropriate places of exception for, say, such as people with disabilities. I think that that's in there too. So it seems to me that the bill is appropriately thought out, and I think the reflection and maybe some improvements could be made. I don't know, but I think it's going in the right direction.
One thing that I think that the bill sponsor should include in the bill, if they're really serious about this, is clarifying what does emergencies mean, and also thinking through the logical steps as to how to make something like this work. I think about going to see a concert at the Palace Theater down the way, and as you're in line going through security, once you get past security, they have these little nifty bags.
Little zipper bags,
Yep. That you put your phone in. They put those phones in a safe enclosure, and you can retrieve the phone when you come out of the concert. They do this because they don't want the concert recorded and placed on social media. So if we're going to pass a bill saying that phones are, essentially outlawed in the classroom during instructional time, then will the bill also provide for safe spaces to put the phones to ensure that it's carried out? And will the bill ensure that the General Assembly actually finances this measure, as opposed to putting one more demand on school systems that has to be deducted from the budget of the school districts?
I think it also puts another burden on the school system, and Corrie, you relate gave a nod to this earlier. What do we do about those students who have that addiction to the phone, and what is the fallout regarding mental health and personality and coping? It opens up a lot.
A friend of mine works in the cell phone industry. He says if you were to take the manual, which you don't get with your iPhone, and print it out, it would be nearly 400 pages of what it's capable of, and we probably don't even know the half of it. So
Most certainly.
it's a lot more, as Stan said, than just a phone. We'll talk about that topic, I'm sure, in the weeks ahead in this program. But moving on to our second topic today on Moral Side of the News. Over the years on this program, we've talked and discussed about the growing need for mental health counseling. Last year alone, Louisville's MetroSafe 911 call center deflected more than 1,800 calls to a non-police response. Now the crisis call diversion program is expanding operating hours and will be available until 2 a.m. rather than stopping at 10 p.m. every night. So, panel, we've talked about mental health counseling with crime and other purposes, but now this seems like a very positive step. What are your thoughts?
It's exciting that the need was responded to and that the response was placed before the public, and that the public are responding by using it, and that it has grown to be, that it's trusted. If it's having to expand hours, I think then the word is going out that I've called this and it worked for me and I'm glad it was there. But then I wonder, when will it become the 24/7 time? Because one's problems are not going to stop at 2 a.m. unfortunately. And so I'm grateful that it's in place and that it's expanding. But then I think there's that next step that I hope's been considered.
For 40 years, our mental health safety net has been gutted and dismantled and destroyed. This is a glimmer. This is the beginning, I hope, of reestablishing that safety net, and so that people are protected and lives are enhanced. And the only thing that makes me a bit sad is it's not 24/7, 365.
I think it's a very positive step in ensuring that our society has the mental health resources that the society clearly needs. I agree with my colleagues that this is not enough. It does need to be 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. But I am glad that we're beginning to recognize how important these types of resources are for people in our communities, because people are really suffering.
I think it's great too. I think it's good that we're getting appropriate responders for certain problems, and I think it takes some relief off police, and for those who are going through not criminal issues but actually mental health issues, they have someone who comes who knows how to address those specific issues. That's really good about that.
I hope that this resource and resources like it will contribute to a decriminalizing of behaviors that stem from mental health. I think too often one of the conversations around defunding the police was not about not paying the police or even dismantling the police department necessarily, but it was about reallocating resources in places where they are most appropriate. So a sworn officer may not be the best person to respond to someone who is having a mental health episode. And so I think that this is in the direction of actually implementing that and carrying that out in pivotal places in our community.
Excellent. We have a third topic on this edition of Moral Side of the News, and thank you for watching and listening this weekend. We're about halfway through. Our third topic, it sounds like science fiction, but it is indeed science fact. A brain implant was placed into a patient this week for quadriplegics and those with ALS, quote, designed to interpret a person's neural activity so they can operate a computer or smartphone by simply intending or thinking to move it, with no wires or physical movement required. This, according to Elon Musk, and his company is called Neuralink. Panel, is this the next step in technology, and are we ready for this?
No.
No, he says.
No. This is pretty sci-fi terrifying to me, because there's an old German folk song, and the title of the song is Die Gedanken sind frei, which means my thoughts are free. Now, that being said, if something is implanted in our brains, our thoughts aren't free anymore, for good or bad. And so this could be potentially intrusive, debilitating, and terrifying.
So you're worried about it getting in the wrong hands.
Absolutely. And in this day and age, that is an ultimate concern.
I wonder, can it be used to like create a super brain? Like you almost have an iPhone or a computer in your head that you can like connect and just stick it in when you need it. You like need to be super smart.
Hal, open the pod bay door, please.
Some kind of AI, some kind of artificial intelligence?
AI, instead of having AI out in the world or on your phone, you have it in your head. And then like you can be some type of Albert Einstein like figure, super smart, brilliant, and everybody, they just don't know that you have a brain chip.
And you're just thinking it happens. Star Trekian, Odyssey 2000, right? 2001?
Yep.
The rest of you?
It's moving really fast.
Yep.
For me, it feels like, and I have some reservations. One is about the dignity of the human body and identity, and I just don't think that our bodies are meant, and our identities are meant to be in service of a piece of technology in that way. And so that's a place where I draw. I think about what Stan's argument about human freedom too, that there's a dignity to that that's a part of us well, that this seems to take away. And the other thing that we touched on a little bit here is that in the United States, with even our fragile Constitution, we feel like some sense of autonomy that we could choose whether or not to do it. That may not be true in other parts of the world, in other bad places where people may not choose that to happen if
Father
this technology goes. Yes.
What about pacemakers that are used to, keep people's hearts
And defibrillators
and
as well,
defibrillators
built in.
And so, I guess 100 years ago, if you had a heart condition, it was just over for you. But now, because of modern medicine and technology related to modern medicine, we're able to literally put things inside of people's bodies to prolong their lives and to help them have a higher quality of life. I wonder if this is the mental equivalent of this. I wonder the opportunities, and I wasn't able to really dig as deeply into this matter as I wanted to, but I wonder about how does this help people with intellectual disabilities, learning disabilities, and how is this a potential remedy for people who have really been sidelined academically? Is this an opportunity for some I don't know, response or some development of that, issue that heretofore, if you had certain learning disabilities, you were out.
But who
Is it almost like a
determines the
pacemaker?
standard of measurement?
Yeah.
At what level is no longer considered a learning disability or a disability of any kind? And does one have to then follow under some particular formula or way of being because that's how it has been programmed?
I mean, somebody
it's
has
intriguing,
to. I think it's
right.
very intriguing, but I think we're onto something. And now Father John said that he thinks it's going too fast. Now I disagree with this. And I disagree with Father John because I grew up with the Jetsons. With the Jetsons.
Yep.
And the
George.
promise was that
Yep.
by the new millennium,
We're supposed to have a flying car.
we would have flying
Yeah,
cars.
I missed that.
None of the cars fly.
No.
None of the cars fly. It is 2024, and I am still driving on pavement, on concrete. I
Potholes.
should be flying
Right,
by now.
right.
Potholes.
Right.
And so I don't know that we're going fast enough as it relates to technological innovation.
Well, it's going faster than what I can think, I think.
Well, this
But
relates
if you
to our-
got the chip, you could think
Yeah,
a little
that's right.
faster, and we would all be caught up with the
But
Jetsons by
hopefully
now.
there would be ethics and morality involved with that chip. I mean, where does all of that essence and nuance of
Well,
being
ethics,
human
that's for
come
you all
in?
preachers.
That's the key.
They never went to church on the Jetsons. They never
No,
went to
this is
they never
true.
went to
Synagogue,
to
no.
the
No.
synagogue
The
either.
synagogue, no place of worship. But this ties into our first topic. We don't exactly know what the cell phone can do, and we're finding out it's not always for the best. But let's switch this for a minute. We've got a couple minutes to cover this topic yet. Crusade for Children, you all are involved in administering and helping with the grant process. If someone came to you and said, I have this that could help children with this disability, this may be that thing. What
It
would you
could.
say about it? I mean, is that too far-fetched to say, let's not even think about that?
Wow.
If it can enhance intellect, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. My beef is I don't want it to enhance intellect at the expense of someone else being able to tap into that intellect without the knowledge or permission of that soul.
I also want it to be for everyone. I don't want it to be one
Not
more
exclusive.
thing that becomes a piece that marginalizes others or
Right.
divides us even more than we're divided between haves and have-nots. That's, no.
I'm still looking at this as a unique piece of technology, and so one of my questions would be about the dignity of the persons, as not only as to how effective this particular tool would be, and just looking overall at the dignity of the particular persons as whether or not that is helped as well. The functioning, certainly it sounds promising, but that's not the only thing that's a part of us as who we are as a people.
Science fiction, science fact, the Jetsons, potholes, driving on the streets. We've covered it all in this edition of Moral
Thinking
Side
about all
of the
the
News.
possibilities.
Yeah.
Time
Seems
will
like a
tell.
worthy investment.
Pandora's box, right?
Yeah, just
Everything but hope. All right, we've got about 5 minutes left in this program, and before we go, I have something to say. I say goodbye and thank you. Today wraps up my time on Moral Side of the News as I head into work optional, as I call it, or also known as retirement. It's been a privilege to moderate this panel for 15 years. There's a bunch of people coming in the studio right now. I've become a better listener, discovered new ways of looking at the world, and witnessed weekly that we don't always have to agree to walk away as friends. Thanks for being loyal listeners and watchers. Finally, I'd be remiss if I didn't remind you that it's always a good time to donate to the Crusade for Children. Just go to whascrusade.org and you can make a difference in a child's life. Before you bring that cake in, and it's very nice of you to do that. Thank you, Dawn Lee, President and CEO of the Crusade. I know the panel would like to say a few things. We have 5 minutes left, I was just told. Take it away.
I'm the oldest guy here as far as terms of service on the crusade and on the moral side, so I'm going to introduce my colleagues, but I just want to say something, and it's totally selfish, John.
Okay.
I'm going to miss you. We're going to miss you,
Thank you.
because as a moderator sitting in that chair, you made us better than we started. You made us that way because of the way that you handled the moderation of this program. You brought things out in us without ever editorializing in any way. And that's a gift. You know, I wish some of our leaders and politicians had that gift too.
I'm not running for president, but also we have 4 minutes left, so keep going.
But that's my statement. I'm
Well, thank you.
sticking to it. And
Thank you kindly.
so, Harriett, Corrie, John, your turn.
Thank you for honoring who we each are and the belief systems that we represent and hold dear, and allowing us to have a place in which to give voice to those. In our differences, we have grown, and thank you for being a part of that. And I will miss you.
Thank you.
And you really rock a bow tie.
3 minutes left. Still got 3 minutes. It's a lot of time. Go ahead, Corey.
Mr. Blim, I'm going
Sir.
to miss you a lot. You have been tremendous. You are a model professional and an excellent gentleman, and you have demonstrated and honed the art of conversation. And so I have been made the better because of your tutelage and your the way you have been so smooth navigating sometimes a very motley group of individuals
Motley.
who have diverging perspectives and opinions. But I think what you have done here has not only made we who lead communities of faith better and helps us to be more generous in our conversations, but you've also helped make society better, because it's these types of conversations that help push the needle forward and really contribute to a more livable community for everyone. So thank you.
That's my pleasure.
John, thank you for your leadership and your service to this show that has a long history in our community. It's so important that you bring about a way where all these different voices can speak in a way that's good, that is also good for this community too, and also bringing out of your dedicated service to the Crusade for Children as well, that is in alliance with this show. And so it's really been wonderful in working with you and how you, with your professional sense, bring about this system that we can all sit down and dialogue with each other, and you moderate that and do that so well, and bring that production experience so with such greatness to this program. So thank you so much for that.
Wow, I wasn't expecting all this. I thought maybe, we'd just sign off and say, see you next time.
And John, certainly your family from the Crusade
Yeah, bring
office.
everybody in here. Come on in, everybody. This is everybody from the WHAS Crusade for Children staff. Angelica, Patty, Heather, Janine, come on in. Dawn, Deandra, and Phil. Everybody get on camera here as we say goodbye. We got about 30 seconds left. This program will continue on as it has for 72 years. Starting next week, someone else will be in this chair in the years to come, but it's been an honor and a pleasure, and thanks for your time. I'll see you down the road. Enjoy some cake, and we'll see you next time on Moral Side of the News. And don't forget, watch this again. It's on YouTube. Just go to whascrusade.org or youtube.org.com and search for Moral Side of the News. Thanks for your time. Until then, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Thank you all very much. Thank you all very much. Wow, what a send-off. Thank you.
Thank you.